Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on DisneyPlus.com. I'm here with a live Q&A. So we're here each and every week. So our questions have been submitted in advance by our Patreon and our YouTube channel members. And also, if you are a YouTube channel member, you can join in the live chat and put in questions. You can also use the super chat function as well. And if you would really like to spread some love, you can also use the gifted membership option as well to let other people join. And that's a brand new thing that's been kind of going around for a while, but I've noticed a lot of people have been using it. So this week, as per usual, is we've got full of questions, lots of different ones, but feel free to put in your questions live as well. So aim is around about 45 minutes, depending on how many questions we've got, etc. I will say it is again another really hot day here in the UK, so I do have my fan on the minimal settings. So if you can hear a little bit of buzzing or whatever noise it makes, that's what it is. But it's like 28 degrees, and that's with the fan just been put down. And Dana and Matt says they can hear me, which is great, which is always nice to do. We're running a poll right now on the main title of the show, which is how do you think Disney will reveal the OneApp experience, an Investors Day event, a press release with advertising, quarterly financial meeting, or a special event? At the minute, an Investors event is kind of at the top there with 40%. So let's jump into the first question, which is the title one. So Mamad says, do you think Disney will unveil the new OneApp experience for Disney Plus and Hulu and announce more information during a special presentation or during a quarterly result call? So for me, this one's a bit of an interesting one because on one hand, you know, doing a special like Investors Day event might be a way of them kind of showcasing what they've got, and it could be a great way of them pushing forward. And that might definitely be they did it when they launched Disney Plus, but is an Investors Day event really necessary to show off the new app? I mean, they could they not just put out a video 5-10 minute special event, showcase how it all works and be done with it? They could do a press event maybe in Los Angeles or something like that to kind of show off how it's going to look. So that's one way of doing it. Alternatively, they could just put out a press release and some images and some video footage and say, this is what's happening, bing, bada, boom, and just let it happen. Because in some ways, that is all they really need to do. And they can save a lot of money in not having the big event and kind of flying people in and doing all that kind of stuff. An event is very good for us as sort of tech fans and fans that want a little bit more information. They tend to be able to go into more detail on it. But equally, they could give out that same information in a press release, or maybe just doing it as part of a quarterly financial results. So there's different options available. I don't know whether or not a Disney Investors event. The trouble is, I feel like with a Disney Investors event was that the 2020 version was so big, so many shows and movies were revealed, that I don't know if Disney can ever like do that again without people getting, especially fans could get very kind of worked up into a frenzy over Dana, no, you've not actually announced anything. This is just kind of pure speculation of what's been going along, of how we think it's going to be done. It's very tricky. I mean, I think they could. The trouble is with an event is that it costs money, and they're trying to not do that one. And do they need, at the minute, I don't know whether or not Comcast, would they be allowed, what would they be allowed to do with that? It might be very tricky for them to kind of lay out the plans of the future and get questions from people if they haven't already kind of worked out what they can say and what they can't do. At least with a press release, Comcast can have like maybe a little bit of oversight into what's going on, and that might be a way of them kind of doing it. So it definitely feels like the majority of you think there's going to be some kind of event of like 60% odd. But it's going to be very, very tricky in terms of how all this comes together. Yeah, it is going to be very tricky. For example, Caleb says, I remember once when the WWE Network was introduced, it was at the CES show in Las Vegas. Obviously, they won't be the case for Disney Plus One X, but I hope they do a catchy advert. I think an advert is probably what we're going to probably see is a big kind of, because you've already kind of got the Disney bundle thing of just being like, you know, they're going, you can now have them two in together or all three of them in one app and just showcase. And I think that's where they need to spend the money. I wouldn't be at all surprised if there was a big kind of event to kind of kick things off. As regards to an announcement at D23, right. So I want to kind of put this thing with D23 this year, right. So D23 obviously is the Disney's fan club, and you pay a yearly subscription. You get some magazines. I can't reach any off the top of my hand. You get magazines. You get some like merchandise kind of stuff, like just behind me here. Actually, you don't think you can see it, but there's a Mickey Mouse big statue that we got this year. And they have the D23 Expo, which takes place in Los Angeles, but it's every 2 years. So last year it was there and it took place, and they do a load of big announcements about movies and everything coming up. But it's a biannual event. This September, they are doing the Destination D23 event, which they tend to do them alternate years to Disneyland. And it's very much focused on Walt Disney World because it takes place at a hotel in Walt Disney World. The kind of the information that they've already given out in advance is very much about legacy, about showcasing the best stuff coming to the parks in the future. It is much more of a park event. It is not a Hollywood blockbuster thing. And also with it not being in LA, the costs of getting people into it. Not last year, the year before, they did do a live stream. They did do live streaming, and they did have a Disney Plus presentation. It was about an hour. And in that, they kind of just did like an interview and did some promotion for the Muppets Haunted Mansion, showed off a new clip or two, and that was about it. It really wasn't really worth a lot. So, yeah, D23 this year is not D23 Expo. It is Destination D23. It is a very theme park orientated event. It is not in the same league as the D23 Expo, which hopefully will be next year. I'm hoping they'll announce some deals on that pretty soon because I'd like to go to it again, and I need to have plans. I need to be able to book flights and organize for it all. But looking at the poll again right now, we got 45% or 44% of investors event, 23% think it's just going to be a press release with some advertising, 11% quarterly financial result, and a special event is at 22%. So that's pretty cool. Right, next question. Tim says, are the Disney Classic Shorts coming to Disney Plus in Australia next month? Haven't got the full list for what's coming to Disney Plus in Australia next month. Australia's list generally comes much later in the month. I suspect they will do. Most of the stuff tends to. Kelly says, should Marvel Studios consider scrapping or shortening the Secret Invasion intro due to the backlash? Personally, no. I think they should just keep it now. It's done. It's not going to do any more damage by them keep rolling with it. And I think if they pull it, it's kind of sending it's very interesting with how this one come in. Connor says, what are your thoughts on Netflix potentially buying Paramount? Do you think this is a better chance of getting past regulators than the rumored Comcast Warner Brothers Discovery deal? Yes, I've been hearing a lot about this week with Warner Brothers is very much kind of looks like Zaslav is kind of stripping out the parts and getting it ready to do stuff. He's looked over the weekend. I saw he was looking to sell the movie and film music rights for about $500 million. And like, it seemed a bit weird, like a lot of music for films and stuff. Some of them obviously are coming close to maybe going into public domains. He's trying to get a little bit more money. So there's a lot of speculation that he's trying to strip it down to sell it to Comcast. And then there's been a lot of rumors that maybe Netflix might be the ones to go for it. Now, Netflix might not want something like this because linear is dropping off, but they don't really have a theatrical model. I think from Netflix point of view, there's probably some advantages to kind of being able to compete with some of the other major platforms a little bit more. They could get some big IPs, Transformers, Top Gun. There's a whole host of things that they could get hold of. It could really kind of get Netflix into that league of, because I don't think Warner Brothers and Comcast could go through. I think there'll be regulation hurdles for them for doing that. I definitely think that's an issue, but I don't think you would have that with Netflix because Netflix doesn't make theatrical films. It doesn't have linear networks. It doesn't have any of that. So that's definitely it. Daniel says, do you think the only reason we're getting High School Musical, the musical, the series is because the cast is getting too old? Seems popular enough anyways. Yeah, the show's really popular. It is really good. I enjoy it. I'm be honest, I really did like the fact that at last year's D23 Expo, I got to see them all perform one of the songs. So now the show's come over. It's like, that's pretty cool. That's great to kind of see that. I feel like any show involving high school, and especially any show involving like teenagers, kids, etc., they grow up and they can't keep these shows. Most of the actors in this show are in their mid-20s. It does get a little bit along the lines of, I do wonder how much we can really expect. from a high school show. Anything to do with school can only run really for a few years. There's only a limited time period at which point they can all film it all. And yeah, so I do think the cast has probably aged out of it, and I think it's probably maybe right. It is kind of better just, as Kayla says here, it's best that the show ends a year early on top rather than dragging out. But when we say a year early, if the kids are leaving high school, that is the end of the show. There's not, you could get, the only thing that they could keep doing is keep bringing in a new batch of kids. They could do maybe next, High School Musical, the series, the next generation, and bring in a whole new batch of new kids. That could be one way of doing it. But yeah, generally Disney stuff doesn't tend to last as long as that one. Tim says, with Disney Plus putting High School Musical, the series, season 4 in the coming soon section this week, why did they remove it? Didn't see it. Sometimes the coming soon section is completely pointless. Constantly making mistakes, constantly not putting things in there. They don't really use it. It does seem odd that they don't use it, but yeah. So why I got put in there and I got pulled out, who knows? Tim says, why does Disney Channel shows, movies take a long time to come to Disney Plus Australia? It's not just Australia. It's also like here in the UK, we have a similar issue. Canada has different. Some of it, I mean, I don't know why things are taking so long to get to us. Like, especially like Australia and the UK don't even have a Disney Channel. So we can't even blame it on linear because the shows aren't going anywhere. I believe a lot of it is down to, I would say, like dubbing is an issue and subtitles, or whether or not they do that, etc. All cuts into it. But I feel like there's a definite kind of them and us in terms of Disney Plus and linear are still kind of fighting a little bit between themselves. And also then you've got the US versus the world is also like Disney Channel really needs to kind of, and Disney as a whole needs to start embracing just releasing things at the same time everywhere. And I think until they get rid of these like legacy like battles and stuff, it is very, very tricky. It is really annoying. Connor says Secret Invasion was a major comic event, and I feel like it should have been the next Endgame style event. Do you think Marvel Studios have poorly treated it? Well, I think the first thing is to think of is the comic book event and the series are the only thing that really ties them is that the scrolls in the name. The whole storyline is completely missing. Do I think this could have been a big event? I think this would have been a great way of maybe reintroducing some well-known characters. This might have been a way of doing it instead of Secret Wars. I do think it would have been good, but it would have required a lot more planning on their part, and I don't know where this series is going. But yeah, it was a massive comic book event. But yeah, I mean, apparently the director got told not to even look at a comic book. So forget the comic books. It is literally just the theme of it as a whole. Matt said, I see Marvel's not going to San Diego because this year in Hall H. A lot of the big studios are pulling out. A couple of reasons, costs, but also if the actors go on strike next week, doesn't look like they probably will do, but that would leave them with no way of kind of what would be a show if you just got an executive on the screen going, well, we've got something maybe coming at some point, but we can't tell you anything. We can't show you anything. We've not even written it yet. We've not got anyone to promote it. Makes it very, very tricky to plan those kind of events. But also with the way everything's in flux right now, would you really want Marvel to go out there and be like, hi guys, we got, here's Echo, here's Loki, and here is, Deadpool 3, and that's all we've got. Because that's all it would be. I don't think there'd be much more to it than that. Let's have a look as it is. Gary says, with Spider-Man No Way Home leaving Netflix on July the 12th, what are the chances it could switch over to Disney Plus in Asian territories? Honestly, it definitely... by the way, I do intend to watch the extended cut before it leaves. Yeah. I feel like the trouble is Sony is very, very hit and miss. We've not seen No Way Home drop anywhere on Disney Plus internationally. So if it does, it will open up the floodgates for every other country. So I am hoping it does, but very, very difficult. Matt says High School Musical, the series college. Yeah, you can't really call it that then, is it? It's college musical. And we've already seen usually, one's already gone off to college and she's left. But yeah, I think it's best just to keep it in high school, but you just reboot it with a new set of kids instead. Kelly said a year early was a praise from sports world since I've heard it's better to retire a year early than a year late. Definitely. Kelly says I do feel Disney Australia still have contracts with Foxtel and Binge since The Simpsons air, and Foxtel. Yeah, it could still be it. It's just very odd with the Disney Channel and National Geographic stuff where the channels don't exist anymore. But you're right, there could be some like long running contracts that they've just got to wait out. But here in the UK, we lost our Disney Channel 3 years ago? It's been a long time. Kelly said, speaking of SAG-AFTRA, I heard that the talks are very productive and a deal could be reached before the deadline. I think there will be. I think it will just get sorted soon. I think the writers, they're going to have to come together at some point. Definitely. Babatronic says, I think Disney need to be very careful with how they tell people in the United. Do you mean tell people about the Hulu Disney Plus merger kind of thing in the United States? Is that what you're kind of referring to? And I do think you're right. There is that Disney have got a much harder battle in the US than I think they had internationally. So the star branding, we had adverts kind of saying, you know, here's something to watch when the kids go to bed. Here's something for everyone. More parental controls. Here's all the stuff you can got. And they very much pushed it that it was something slightly separate. Slightly confused people because people thought it was completely separate or they had to pay extra for it. I think Disney has got the advantage of them being able to do it with the Hulu brand. With the Hulu brand, it allows for much more. And I feel they've got a good way of doing it. They can kind of just turn around and say, it's Hulu and it's available on Disney Plus with parental. There's all people understand what Hulu is, and you can. I think they've got a much better way of doing it through using Hulu as the gateway into it, because I think people are much more going to be able to understand that you can access Hulu content within Disney Plus, and it's kind of separate, but it's not. I think that branding is going to be really good at it. Ricardo says, when can we get the full trailer for the new season of Futurama? It's coming out in about 3 weeks? Probably a week. We'll probably get into July, and then they'll do it. The thing is, in all honesty, especially with television, I don't think there's much of an advantage pushing out trailers much beyond a week or two. I know we like to see things a bit early, but we've had the teaser trailer. I just don't really think they necessarily need to. I think that's definitely kind of a way for them to go forward on that one. Jumping back into some of the other questions. Matt says, when will we see some more content removed from Disney Plus and Hulu? So apparently the end of the quarter is literally a week away. We've not seen anything on Canal Plus. There are some things leaving like Hulu that seems to be coming up on the expiry system, but no major thing. Now, this might be because they've cancelled their plans because the backlash they got last time and decided just to hold off. It could be that they're just going to do it all at the last minute and therefore not give anybody any notice, because the way they've done it now is if they don't tell anyone and they just pull them off, they aren't going to get the heat that they got last time. And I don't think it's going to be as much, but it might just be Hulu stuff. And Hulu's in a different situation in some ways because they've got this expiry system and people are used to stuff leaving Hulu, but I think we are going to start losing maybe more Hulu stuff than Disney Plus stuff now. I don't think there's much left really that they can pull apart. Mahamad says, do you think the Warner Brothers Discovery plan to sell about half of their TV music rights, do you think it's a bad thing to do? I don't think it makes any sense for them to do. It seems a bit odd to be selling the music rights to the show, but you want to keep them. Definitely seems a bit odd. It does seem really, really odd. Muppet Don says, why was the full episode of American Chinese been put on the Disney Plus YouTube channel? To get you to watch it. They're desperately trying to get people to watch it. They're putting it on as many different channels and streaming services as possible because they spend a lot of money on it. They want to advertise it. They want you to watch it. They want it to be a hit. And unfortunately, sometimes people are much less willing to take a chance on something that they don't know. And so this is just a way of them just trying to get some more eyeballs on it. And hopefully you carry on with the rest of the series. It's, to me, at least they're trying. I mean, you can't accuse them of not. They probably could have done some more marketing beforehand. And I'm hoping with there being less series that they can start promoting the things they've got coming out a little bit better and start pushing it a little bit more. Bubba Trolling says, what is the reason behind some people's belief that Warner Brothers Discovery will be sold? I believe it's kind of some of the things he's saying, but also a lot of the actions of what he's been doing and what he's been talking about, doing stuff together. He's been doing deals with Comcast. There's a lot. And also his money is, he wants to get in and get out and get his money. C-Tan says, what other features should Disney Plus add to its user interface? I think it should be picture-in-picture on mobile devices and adjusting the video speed. Let me know in the comments. What would you like to see added? I think adjusting video speed. What do you mean, like watching it at super double? I never understand how you can do that on like a podcast or something. Like listen to this, you want to listen to me like this? I don't know. It's like there's probably some people that do listen to it, but I don't know. Or did I really go really slow? Maybe that's one way of it. I mean, maybe there's some really useful ways of doing it. Picture in picture, it would be good. I mean, I think personally, I don't think I could use it too much. And to me, like removing things from the watch list, especially when you've only got like a minute left and it's just credits, I wouldn't mind the ability, I think, for some people to be able to hide specific shows. I think that would be, or films. I think that would be really useful. Not just from the point of view of parents being able to control what their kids watch, because I think that's a fair enough thing. If there's a particular show that you do not want them having access to, if you could give parents that access of level for that account, I think it's only good. Ultimately it's their choice and it's the adult, and therefore I think it's up to them to do. I also feel you could also look at it the other way. Maybe that you're just a parent and you have had enough of listening to Frozen for the 900th time, and you want them to basically be able to blame Disney for them taking it away in the same way of when the ice cream van comes around, and if he plays the music, that means he's sold out. That kind of thing that where parents do a white lie for. Sometimes it's not a bad thing, but I think that would be a really good option for parents to have access to it. And maybe as well, just, show that you really just don't want to keep being prompted with, you just don't want to see, maybe you don't like Marvel, so you just go in there and you can like disconnect it so you don't see it. Maybe something like that would be quite kind of interesting. Let's have a look, see what we've got on the questions for that one. Kelly says, I want to see Disney Plus in-house subtitles similar to what Netflix does. Yeah, I think subtitles is something they really need to do for that. Carrying on with the pre-done questions. Keep sending in your live questions as well. Once we've kind of gone through these pre-done ones, we'll then focus primarily then on the live ones. So that's been pretty good. Gary says, with Disney announcing the closure of the linear channel networks in Asia, will this mean that their Saturday Hong Kong movie premieres will be shifted to other days of the week? They're normally on Saturday nights at 9:30 p.m., colliding with the linear television premiere on Fox's Star Channel movie channel. I've noticed they're starting to premiere new Asian movies on Wednesdays, not Saturdays. Now, I don't particularly know of your particular region. There could be a number of reasons for this. They might be starting to license less of them. I do know that Bob Iger at that last quarterly results and the one before that, he's been very vocal about the fact that some countries have been focusing on local content way more than the global content that they want them to focus on, and that will be changing. We're going to be seeing some changes, I think, within Korea, how much stuff they're making, and we're seeing it already with Latin America and stuff. So that might be one of the reasons in Hong Kong they might start pulling back and basically bringing Disney Plus in line with the rest of the world. So you guys get the same movies on the same day that we do, and you might start seeing a lot less content, because essentially they're paying to have access to that particular content. So I suspect it's more about the fact they're just going to be starting to pull back on how much stuff they license in and get you on track, so that when things like Elemental and Indiana Jones or The Little Mermaid, those are the movies that they want you to watch on it, not something that they've brought in. So that would be my pure guess. So Suna says, do you think they will add my stuff in the OneApp experience when they merge Disney Plus and Hulu together and show how many episodes you have left and say when you're all caught up? It'll be nice if we have a rejig of how all that tech works. But I suspect you will be able to create, I don't know whether or not we'll be able to import it into it, but I would imagine once it's in the app, you will be able to add it to your watch list, and it will then show you. If it pulls it in from Hulu, that's going to be really interesting to see if that works. Definitely do that. Barbara Trolling says, do you think Warner Brothers will change its name to just Warner Brothers because WB and D sounds like a partnership instead of a single company? No, because the people that are running it are very much Discovery people, and they do not want to be losing the Discovery brand. And the Discovery brand, it does have a lot of connection. It doesn't have a bigger connection maybe with, like, you know, movie fans, because it's not, but a lot of TV people know about Discovery. I mean, it is a big brand. I know when I used to go to America and in the airport and see like a Discovery store, I was, you know, I like to go in there, and I used to like stuff. Same with Nat Geo. It's kind of a shame. I was in the Disney store in London this weekend because we went up from a concert, and like the National Geographic section at a Disney store was so pitiful. It really was like, why are they? It's like it's been shoved in there, and it's like they can't be selling a lot. A couple of really expensive like jackets and stuff just didn't seem to be working. Saying that, some of that was on the discounted one. I picked up a bag with National Geographic on for my last trip at TK Maxx. So I'm quite happy to have a little bit of Nat Geo stuff. But yeah, this does seem a bit odd. Mamo said, if Guardians 3 follows Ant-Man 3 release, could we see the film on August the 2nd, which is around 93 days? So that's when it's coming out, I think, on DVD and Blu-ray. Do you think it will release the same day? And if no, what are your predictions? Right now, we're kind of sliding back. I think they're in the feeding out process of trying to work out. You have the digital version coming out, and you have the physical, and that kind of seems to be separated from the DVD one. Now we're off from the Disney Plus. Now they might be wanting to get some DVDs sold and Blu-ray sold before it comes to Disney Plus, which would make sense to do that. But it also wouldn't surprise me if we saw Guardians 3 on the same day as the Blu-ray release. But you got to be honest, are you less likely to buy? If you're in your store and you see Guardians 3 on Blu-ray, are you going to pick it up? Are you going to spend some money rather than go, oh, it's on Disney Plus today? That's the key thing. So I think we're going back to Windows. Two more last question, and then we're going to be on the pre-done questions for the rest of the internet live questions. I'm all a kerfuffle. Been a long weekend. Muppet Don says, do you think the Simpsons Disney Plus Hulu spin-off show called Treehouse of Terror would work if they remove the episode from the series each year, and then Halloween they release a series of 5 episodes which could include Simpsons and Futurama characters to tell the same kind of horror stories from those episodes of the Simpsons? I think it would be a good special, but it does seem at the minute that the shorts and the specials coming through on Disney Plus are very short. They don't have any words in them, and I don't know what the contract is with Fox. That might be an issue. That might be an issue. Right. Okay. So now we're going to be on live questions for the next 15 minutes. So feel free to keep sending them in. So feel free to do so. Right. Let's see what we've got. So, Suna, you said you've got asked 2 questions. I remember doing one. Could you just pop your second question in the live chat? And I'll do that one as soon as you pop it in there for me. That'd be a great thing. I must have missed that one. Sometimes as well, YouTube, like if there's certain words in it, it will hide it from me. So that's kind of the things. Matt says, I think we'll see a Hulu Hub next to the national. I think they're going to do it like that. I think you're going to see the Hulu Hub like it is on Disney Plus. I will just bring it up here to show you guys what it is. So let's bring up here. So this is Disney Plus here in the UK. I'll make myself a little smaller. So there we go. Let's just bring this up full screen. So this is what Disney Plus looks like at the minute here in the UK and around the world. So you can see it all looks very similar, but we have the Star Hub. And you can also probably see as well, the actual main hub it's all integrated all into one. So you can't see a difference. You can see all your stuff together. And this is what I think basically Hulu and Disney Plus is going to look like. It's going to mix everything all in one, because all of this will be available in one app. I don't think it's actually going to be pulling any information from Hulu. I think it's just going to be, but we'll have to wait and see. So you can see here. So this is what Disney Plus looks like here in the UK. I'm just going to scroll up, and there we go. So it's caught up. So clicked on the Star tab, and I think we're going to go into a Hulu Hub, and then you're going to have it look like a bit like this. Now, I think it's going to look very different. I think we are going to end up seeing some different sections, maybe some hubs and some extra options in here. But yeah, I think because in all honesty, Star Hub is massively overcrowded. There's not a lot of stuff in here, and then you're going to have. I'm hoping that we get a little bit more of these collections and stuff, and really start like putting in a little bit more effort into these kind of things, because at the minute it's very, very lacking. They don't tend to do a lot of collections, especially. I mean, literally, this would be like the Hulu section. So that's all you got: a few franchises and a few genres. I think we need an upgrade. We need an upgrade on that. All right. See, we've got Dana says it's very humid in Maine. I'm not. Yeah, it's so hot. I mean, especially coming back from London, it's been horrendously hot up there. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. Gary says, seems like Disney is already downsizing a lot this year. They've already announced 6 of their 9 linear TV channels are going to end. They are really going to be cutting back. They are cutting back to become more streamlined. They've been spending and keeping stuff going. And like closing a linear and just focusing on Disney Plus seems to be just a good way of keeping money coming in from subscriptions. But also, I don't think they've got the same connection in the same way that like they have with like the ABC network. I think the executives are much more likely to close something off that they're not familiar with than maybe, you know, things that they're making up. And also, we don't know how much money they're making off those channels. You know, if the viewership is down, that might be why. Matt says, what would you like to say when they add Hulu to Disney Plus? Get on it. Yeah, I think they definitely needs to get onto it. Kelly says, I do know that when the writer's strike ends, I feel Abbott Elementary would have been a shortened season 3. It would be nice if season 3 opener begins with a teacher's strike that resolved. Meta reference. I really enjoy it. I just finished off season 2 because it arrived a little bit later. That's such a cool series, and it's that kind of weird things. There's not that many comedies anymore, like sitcoms, and I really like the style of it. The mockumentary, the characters are good. It's just one of my favorites. I really enjoyed it. And then I tried Dead to Me, and that was just not very good. So, but yeah, I think Abbott Elementary. I think we're going to get to a certain point though that if they don't get them out, if they don't get this fixed before a certain date, we will not see them probably this season, and they'll just roll everything over to next year. Ricardo says, what is the worst case scenario for Warner Brothers Discovery because of the recent box office flop? The trouble is with they can only release so many because they've only got so much money to spend. But The Flash has been a huge bomb, which you could have seen coming a mile away because there's so many problems with that film. But maybe I think Oppenheimer is one of theirs. So, I mean, they could get one good movie and do really well. I don't think that one's going to be it. I know a lot of people are excited for it, but I think that one's got a very limited range for what that one might do. Dana says, do you think putting shows on linear the next day on Disney Plus is a better way to do things like American Born Chinese, The Dropout, or Dope Sick? I personally think it's better to have one release date and just say it's out on this date, and it's on linear, and it's on streaming. Have the same day. This whole next day thing I think it's an unnecessary complication, and it was only done because that was the way that the contracts were in place for the linear. That is based around a linear customer first, isn't it? The linear gets it first, and then streaming gets the seconds. And I think that it needs to be more. No, both our customers are valid, and both of our customers should have access to it on the same date, and therefore it's less confusing with just having one date. You know, it's like out on the 26th of February, and then the next day. I personally don't like the system. But also, there's a good way of kind of getting more viewers. Matt says, how many episodes of Echo? I believe it's 6, as Gary just said. Ryan says, maybe I'll go physical again. See, it's always a kind of weird thing with like physical. And I know there's a lot of people shouting about physical, especially with them removing stuff from streaming service and like saying physical is the way. Maybe for me as an older person I have brought thousands of movies. I mean, we're probably talking 3,000-4,000 movies over my lifespan. How many do I own now, actually, like physical? Maybe about a couple hundred. I probably got about 300-400 down a couple of boxes under the stairs. And that's the problem. They're under the stairs. Because I couldn't quite part with them. But I have gone through Betamax, VHS, Laserdisc, DVD, Blu-ray, HD DVD. I even had video. There was even like video DVD or video CDs at one point. I remember getting a few of them. So I pretty much had every format. And the thing is formats come and go. Now DVD definitely is one of the strongest ones and still continue to go. But I remember the wars, the HD wars between HD DVD and Blu-ray. And if I go back and try and find my VHS from, of, I don't know, say something I recorded, I think, say I just got the X-Files on VHS. Well, I've got to go find a VHS machine, and I've got to play it, and I've got to find it, and it's going to be in really low quality. Yes, I've got access to it, but I've got to have access to that VHS machine. And is it still going to work? Is it going to chew up my tape? If you have a DVD, when you open up a DVD that's 20 plus years old, has it corroded? Has it disintegrated? Because that's another issue with physical media. I've had some of my discs, they actually disintegrated, but also trying to get hold of a disc machine. Now, at the minute, I've got my PlayStation 5, so I can put it in that. But when the PlayStation 6 comes around, will it have a disc drive? Yeah, I might not have one, so they're going to have different systems. Trying to watch a HD DVD, I can't do that. I haven't got any of the Xbox 360. I haven't got one anymore. Don't use. So I think, and also just storing all this stuff. I know when we were moving around, and especially when I moved in with my in-laws for a few years, paying for everything in storage was just too much. You just couldn't do it. So I think there's a lot of reminiscing about physical. Now, I do think that there is a market for physical. I think that Disney should be embracing doing special, like they do with vinyl, where they do special limited edition box sets with lots of artwork. Make it physical. Make it as physical as you possibly can. You make a special cover. You put in postcards. You put in as much junk as you possibly can to make it feel like you're getting something tangible, something special to hold on to. But as technology moves on, I'm just not sure. And and also each year we're now getting generations that are coming up underneath that have never had physical, and you're getting other people that that want it. It's very tricky. So Suna says, do you think they would do a plan with Disney Plus and Hulu like one without like Paramount? So the minute you can already get the Disney Plus and Hulu bundle for $9.99 a month. So they've already got a bundle in place. And so if you've got both, you're going to be able, I think they're just going to expand on that and really push that. Maybe they do a ad-free version, a premium version. They might do that. They might also do the price rise at the same time. Maybe make it $10.99 for the two. That could be a way of doing it. But yeah, I think they are going to be pushing you to get that bundle. Because Paramount Plus is going to have one plan. Yeah. So that's the thing with Showtime is the Showtime, I believe this month or next month, is then merging in fully with Paramount Plus, and you're going to be paying it. So they're probably going to be watching to see how they do it. Okay, so the difference between Hulu and Star is that when the show airs on ABC, FX, and Freeform, it will be syndicated as such on the thumbnail. Yeah, that's definitely it. I think we'll start seeing more of that being used. Sorry, I should have said bye. Don't worry, Ryan. Don't worry. It's a live stream. You do not need to. It's not an airport. You don't need to. You like to do. It's on your convenience. Matt says, will we see a Nick Fury collection? I'm surprised we've not already seen one, but I suspect there will be. Oppenheimer is distributed by. Oh yes. See, I was thinking with Oppenheimer that because it was what's his name? The director, completely. The guy that directed all the Warner Brothers movies. He then that's how they did it. Matt says, why can we see Halloween special this year on Disney Plus? I don't think we'll see a Marvel one this year. I don't think we're going to get one of them. We probably will see some specials of some kind. Kelly says, my idea for a limited collection physical media would include a t-shirt or sweatpants, clothes, or what's essential. The trouble is when you put clothes in, you then have to start doing sizes, and therefore you're going to have to do different versions of the box. So if you do like 2XL, XL, large, medium, small, extra small, so it makes making a box like that suddenly they're much more at risk, because then they're going to have to make different sizes. Will they sell more small? Would they sell more extra large? And then you got people that that triple X. There's lots of different. There's issues with adding in clothing. Babatronic says, do you think David Laszloff will sell the Discovery part at the end? I'll spin it out. I think he's going to sell parts. He's going to sell as much of it out as possible and then just sell it, take the money and leave. Matt says Paramount Plus and Showtime will merge on June 27th. I figured it was this week. I thought that was the case. So Suna says, will we see Abbott Elementary on Disney Plus? So I feel like now, in terms of the US, anything that is on Hulu will not probably be coming over to Disney Plus in the traditional way that we've been seeing it up till now. What we're going to see is when the OneApp experience happens and Hulu is available within Disney Plus, you will be able to see Abbott Elementary in Disney Plus. And you'll be able to click on it and you'll be able to watch it. But you're going to need that Hulu subscription to watch it. They are not probably going to move that over to Disney Plus until a full merger has happened, because they're going to want to make sure that they get your Hulu money as well. So I think in some way, I would not think too much more about them trying to move much of that general entertainment stuff onto Disney Plus in the US, because they're going to want to basically plug you to upgrade that way. Kelly says, I do actually believe Disney Plus and Hulu will become one. However, there will be a plan where there's Disney Plus without ESPN and one with ESPN bundled. I think it's definitely going to happen. I think we are going to see a merger, but it's going to be much easier for them to do a merger once everything's all in one, and they can kind of sell it a little bit easier. Like, oh, we're just making it easier, and we're going to change it all. And I think ESPN Plus being available within Disney Plus makes a lot of sense doing it that way. They can't follow the past of adding ESPN Plus into Disney Plus and trying to get you to pay for it, because people will not do that. You're not going to pay $25, $30 a month for Disney Plus with sports. You will get some, but then you're going to get, I just don't think they can do that in the same way. So Suna says, do you think they'll do a Hulu subscription with Disney, buy out of Comcast and share? I think up until Comcast is out the way, you're going to have the two running separately, and then you're going to have the bundle. And then at some point, once Comcast is brought out and they announce the merger, then there will just be one, you'll have the ad version and the ad-free version. So I think that's how it's going to work. Right. Okay. Any last-minute questions before we head off in a minute? And if not, then that will be the end of the stream. So we'll be back again next week with another live Q&A. Keep a lookout during the week for more episodes of the Disney Plus News podcast. So that will be going up Monday through Friday, new news every day. Got a couple of stories to be talking about tomorrow. Got some interesting interviews as well coming up this next week. So keep a lookout for that one. And yeah, on that note, guys, thank you very much. And I shall see you guys next week. Laters. Thank you.